Classic Doctor Who. The bane of my existence. Not because it's bad, but because I call myself a Doctor Who fan and I haven't seen most of it. Last year I watched 7 classic stories, one from each classic Doctor, and I really liked it, and you guys seem to as well. So after receiving nearly 1,000 comments with your recommendations as to what I should watch next, I handpicked 7 more stories for us to watch today. So by the end of this video, I should know if A, I still like classic Doctor Who, B, what my favourite episode of classic Doctor Who is, and C, will I keep watching classic Doctor Who after this? Or is this it? Let's go. Greetings, loved ones. Let's take a journey. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're watching classic Doctor Who again. I'm very excited to start our journey because today we are watching The Romans, which is a First Doctor story that has been described to me as a pure historical fun episode. What to expect from this episode? Romans. And that's all. Famously, Doctor Who started out with the intention of becoming a historical program, teaching history to children, but then it became about your Absorbeloffs and your Patings. So hopefully I learned something from this. Enjoying a rare holiday with his companions, the Doctor takes Vicky to visit Rome, where he is mistaken for the musician Maximus Battalion. And then there's some slave trading and lion fights, but can they make their escape and find the Doctor before Rome is consumed by fire? The ending of this episode was pretty peculiar, but anyway, enjoy. Oh wow. It never gets old. And right off the bat, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought the cast were brilliant, and there were actually some great comedic bits of dialogue. And for something filmed in the 60s, it actually looked like they had a bit of a budget. There are, so many extras in this scene, and I'm just wondering what the budget was, because they got costuming, they got extras. And once again, I am surprised just how violent classic Doctor Who is. Don't kill the harp, man! But the real pleasure of this episode was the fact that it shows the companions actually having fun a bit. Everyone's on holiday for once.
I think New Who needs to do that more, where the Doctor and companions just, stay somewhere for ages. I know it does happen occasionally in New Who, but I just love the fact that these guys are like, yeah, the TARDIS fell, and we're just fine setting up camp.
But then I realized that the place that they were holidaying at wasn't actually their place. It wasn't an Airbnb, they didn't book it.
This is a Crispy Pro official message. I do not endorse breaking into someone else's house and staying there. But you know what I do endorse? The sponsor of today's video, which is private internet access.
When you browse the internet with an unprotected device like your phone, computer, tablet, you are transmitting a great amount of information out to the open web, which can be seen by all sorts of entities. When you connect to any public Wi-Fi network like at airports or coffee shops or even friends' houses, your data such as passwords, keystrokes, and even photos are at risk of being stolen by hackers. But private internet access's VPN services hide your IP address and safeguard your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. This way, your digital data is shielded from hackers who are just looking to exploit your private data. But beyond the ability to browse privately and protect your data, VPNs also allow you to access services across the internet that may only be accessible based on your physical location. For example, today's video would not be possible because we don't get the Whoniverse in Australia. That's a UK thing. But now I do. With private internet access's VPN, you can change your IP address to 91 different countries. I like private internet access because you only need one subscription to protect all your family's devices. It is available for all platforms such as Mac, Android, iOS. Private internet access is known for being the world's most transparent VPN provider with over 30 million downloads. They never record or store data, and their no-logs policy has been proven multiple times in court and by third-party audit. So you can just trust them like you trust the Doctor. So if you want to protect all of your and your family's devices, try private internet access out for yourself. They are offering my audience 83% off when you order a 2-year subscription, plus you get an extra 4 months free. Wow. All you have to do is sign up using the link below. Once again, click the link below and you'll get 83% off your 2-year subscription plus an extra 4 months free. That is simply a no-brainer when it comes to protecting your data. And thank you so much again for for private internet access for sponsoring today's video.
Wowee! End of episode 1, and that just breezed by, and I feel like the rest of the episodes are going to breeze by as well.
The next few episodes breezed by with some strong performances from the cast, but the last episode really threw me as to what the moral of the story is.
Is the Doctor proud that he inspired the Great Fire of Rome? That's unhinged.
I have just finished watching The Romans, and for the most part, I think I enjoyed it. I thought it was really well acted. I thought William Hartnell did a sensational job. The costuming was fantastic. There was some obvious budget behind it. There was quite a large cast, quite a lot of extras, and I was kind of with it until that final episode when the Doctor kind of accidentally gave inspiration to the Great Fire of Rome. And I thought it was going to be like a throwaway thing, like, oh, the Doctor kind of didn't realize, but they directly address it in the episode, and he's like, oh, did I? Oops. Like, imagine the fires of Pompeii with David Tennant and Catherine Tate, except at the end, instead of Catherine Tate being like, please, for goodness sake, save someone, if they were like, oopsies, another day. But overall, whatever, it was a fun episode. And who's Vicky?
The second episode I decided to watch was a little story called The Krotons. I still don't know how to say it. And I chose this because someone in the comments said it was their favorite episode, and I was like, all right, I'll take a chance on this. It wasn't the most popular Second Doctor episode suggestion, and now I can see why.
Oh, we are back, and it is a late night one. Today we are watching the Second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, and this is the Krotons? The Krotons? I know nothing about this episode. I have literally zero context. I don't know what a Kroton is. I'm assuming it's an alien race of some kind. In the last video, I ended up really enjoying the Cyberman episode that we watched with Patrick Troughton. It had its flaws, but I really enjoyed that episode, so I'm excited to get into this.
When the TARDIS arrives on the planet Gons, the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe discover a world ruled and enslaved by Krotons. The Doctor and his companions decide to put a stop to their rule, but in doing so, inadvertently unleash the true power and terror of the Krotons instead. And I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've watched this episode. Me recording this narration right now, I've pretty much completely forgotten about this episode. It felt rather forgettable. I'm sorry.
So these Krotons are like silent rulers of this place? I don't know. I don't know if this episode's hooked me as much as I was hoping it would. But we will continue. Oh no! Watch out for the smoke machine! On the side, I sometimes do a bit of DJing, and I have a button that does a very similar thing, puts smoke into the crowd, except they're not usually like that, unless they've had a few too many. I find it funny how many cliffhangers there are in Classic Who, because, you know, they split the stories up. Well, they don't split the story up, they split the episodes up. And so many of the cliffhangers are just the Doctor and or a companion are about to get killed. Well, guys, just as episode 4 begins to play, look who got some noodle box. Just glad my Uber Eats arrived, so I'm gonna have some noodles and watch some Krotons. I mean, their design is pretty cool. Oh, that's how they're gonna end it. Not my fave. That was a bit of a slog to get through.
Okay, so we are now going to watch a third Doctor story, the Daemons, the Matt Damons, the Damn Son. I don't know much about this story, but it was very much recommended in the comments section, so we're gonna give it a go. I think it might be a master story, and that'll be fun. I've never watched a classic master story before.
In the peaceful village of Devil's End, something very strange is happening. The new vicar looks suspiciously like someone familiar, and he is using black magic to conjure up an ancient daemon. Can the Doctor, Joe, and Unit stop their old enemy before he succeeds?
Oh ho ho ho! Let's go! There he is. The
Damn, son!
I'm now just realizing it is a 5-part story, so get keen for some of that classic Who pacing.
I had really high hopes for this one. The last Jon Pertwee episode I quite enjoyed. I really liked Jon Pertwee as a Doctor, and I had never seen a Joe Grant episode of Doctor Who before. And then a familiar face showed up.
What? It's him! It's the Master!
Of course, the Master is wearing a disguise.
Why should I believe you?
Do you like disguises? Okay, well, they have set up a very, very interesting premise. I love the fact that the Master was disguised as a priest. That's fantastic. Now I just have to get through 5 more parts. Easy day's work.
And being completely transparent, this episode felt like a fever dream, but in the best way possible.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Wow. This story has been so great. We got the brig, we've got Unit involved, we've got the Master up to his usual tricks. This might be the best shot in Doctor Who history, that one. Bang. Attitude. I'm not all for like the satanic elements and, rituals. I've never really liked that kind of stuff. But I mean, through the lens of Doctor Who, I'll watch it. Me after a night out. Oh, whoa. But this is my favorite character. Where is he? Look at him! Bang! Put that away.
I thought I lost him, but as I should know from watching Doctor Who, just this once, everybody lives.
Yes! Wow. Do we get a happy ending in Doctor Who? That was great. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Classic Doctor Who. Who knew?
Buckle the heck up, because the way I feel about this story, oh boy. Whilst on holiday in Paris, the Doctor and Romana discover that something is very amiss with time. Who is disrupting it, and what connects them to the Mona Lisa? The answers led them to discover a secret that has been hidden for 400 million years.
And I have no idea what this one's about at all. I imagine there's some kind of city and some kind of death. If this episode was about my college degree, then it would be called City of Debt. Yeah. Let's just get into it. Oh my gosh, is that the current Doctor Who logo? It's the thing from The Incredibles.
Look, this story was absolutely fantastic and was probably the most engaged I have ever been with classic Doctor Who. Not just because the story was set in Paris and I was recently there on a holiday. The plot of this episode is fantastic. It felt like a Stephen Moffat script. There were so many twists and turns I was not expecting.
I'm enjoying it. There seems to be like something is going on with time. Time is slipping. Time's gone, whoa! I'm sorry, but I feel like I've seen the Mona Lisa like a million times. Who is she? She is not the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, little did I know just how much that would play into the plot later.
Alright, this might be one of my favourite line deliveries in Doctor Who in general. Tom Baker is insanely good.
Romana.
Yes?
You know, I think something very funny is going on. You remember that man who was following us? Well, he's standing behind me, poking a gun in my back.
All right. This story flew by with ease. Everything had me hooked, and I couldn't wait to see how this story ended. Just enjoy the chaos.
How is this soundtrack in a Doctor Who episode? You ready? You ready? You ready?
Oh my gosh!
You know what? Episode 1 was absolutely excellent. I really, really enjoyed that. Fantastic location shooting. I liked Romana. I've never seen a Romana episode before, but that was great. And the bad guy is actually the alien from the very first scene. I mean, wow. This is good stuff. I'm keen to watch the rest of this. Let's go.
Leonardo? Leonardo?
I'm sorry, are we about to meet Leonardo da Vinci? Are they about to pull a Vincent van Gogh on us?
Doctor.
What? What? So this guy's like splintered himself through time like Clara? Huh? Alrighty.
Final episode. I'm really keen. I just want to know how it ends. How are we gonna save the day? So the plot of this whole thing, I love that. That is so much better than what they did with Clara splitting. That this guy had various versions of himself throughout history split, and they all helped him in the future to get money, to get technology, so that he could advance his time travel technology. That's just blown my mind. This is a very good script. Uh-oh. Trouble in paradise. She's just realized she's been married to an alien. Yikes. I feel like she'll end up on one of those TLC reality shows where they're like, yeah, I was married to an alien for the last 18 years of my life. How did I not realize? Also, this episode had a very unexpected cameo for me. Excuse me? What the heck is John Cleese doing in this episode? Fawlty Towers was one of my all-time favorite shows to watch growing up with my parents. And I had no idea that he was in Doctor Who. All right. Well, that was fantastic. That might be one of my favorite classic Doctor Who's that I have ever seen. You'll have to wait until the end of this video to see if any of the other ones beat that. But that's some tough competition. City of Death? More like City of...
Whoa, it is Doctor Number 5 day and we are watching the Caves of Androzani. I have no idea what this story is about, but all I know is that it is one of the best Doctor Who episodes of all time. That's what people say, that's what the headlines are. I am very intrigued for more 5th Doctor stories. My neighbor is currently doing some yard work just as I started recording, so he's doing that.
Arriving on the barren world of Androzani Minor, the Doctor and Peri find themselves embroiled in a long-running underground war. The very presence of the Doctor and Peri on Androzani sets in motion a chain of events that will have dramatic consequences for everyone involved. As the situation gets even more desperate, the Doctor realizes time is running out. Will the Doctor make the ultimate sacrifice to save his young friend's life? Well, apparently he does, because nobody told me that this was a regeneration story. I had no idea. Yeah, baby. Robert Holmes. Stop doing your yard work, please. Watching this episode, I got a true appreciation for Peter Davison. It is by far the best performance as the Doctor that I had ever seen him in. He very much commands the screen. If anything, this story has definitely bumped him up a few places in my personal Doctor rankings. And then once again, Doctor Who was very violent and ended on a cliffhanger. Bloody hell.
That was one of the most insane cliffhangers I have ever seen, and I have no idea how they're going to get out of that one. They are going to get out of it, but how? I don't know. There's a lot of people, it feels a bit crowded, but I feel like they've set up quite an interesting mystery, and I'm keen to see how this plays out.
They were robots? They tessellacted us.
Oh, and you guessed it. Classic Doctor Who violence. Here you go.
This is dinner time TV for the BBC.
Also, there was someone in this episode that had this incredibly funny laugh, and I tried to find the clip. I don't know if I can find it, but I recreated it because I thought it was so funny. Anyway.
You're dying.
I really enjoyed the character work this episode. They gave the villain of the story like a really interesting background, and his mask kind of makes him look like a Cadbury Top Deck.
I think I might have been a bit harsh on the Top Deck fella. He had a really tragic backstory. He's been burnt severely, and he was promised a deal where he'd get half the profits, but it obviously didn't turn out very well. So, is he the MVP this episode? He very well might be. Oh my gosh. It all seems pretty self-contained, and I can see why people think this is the best story ever, because I think it's all going to pay off. We're in the finale right now. I want to know how this thing wraps up. I've just microwaved last night's pasta. It's getting real. Is Peri going to die? Is this Peri's last episode? Surely not. Maybe. No, she's with the 6th Doctor. She must make it.
For a moment there, I thought we were going to lose Perry as a companion. I thought I had lucked out and chosen a companion exit story. How naive was I? But to my absolute shock, this was Pete Davidson's last episode of Doctor Who.
Is this a regeneration episode? I think the 5th Doctor's dying. Oh my gosh, we got all these cameos at the end here. That's the Master right there. Oh my gosh.
Change, my dear.
It seems a moment too soon.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I approve.
Heyo!
Today we are watching Vengeance on Varos. Varos? So many strange names of Doctor Who episodes. Androzani, Varos. What is this? Some kind of sci-fi show? Colin Baker, I very much enjoyed his performance last time. The episode we watched was some Cyberman episode. I think it was Attack of the Cybermen. It was okay, but apparently this is one of his best ones, so I'm keen to see what happens. Let's go.
On the planet Varos, prisoners and guards alike are subject to several forms of punishment, which are then broadcast to the masses as entertainment. For the Doctor, Varos is his only hope for him to locate a rare mineral which powers his ailing TARDIS. But when he and Perry arrive, they are caught up in events that are beyond their control. Luckily for me, this was when Doctor Who started to be 2-parters instead of 5-parters, not that I'm complaining.
Such a cool intro. Kind of trippy. There it is.
But once again, I found myself enjoying this Colin Baker story more than the last one we watched. I especially liked this little guy.
So are like public executions and stuff like live TV? That's horrible. And Classic Who continues to be violent. It's so violent.
But the one thing I noticed with Classic Who, apart from how violent it can be sometimes, is how long it takes for the Doctor and their companion to become part of the main plot. Like, wow. They are usually off doing something else for so long before before it starts to click.
They finally rocked up. Thank goodness. Don't walk into the laser. Oh, you idiot.
But much like the last episode with SNL's Pete Davidson, this was the strongest Colin performance that I had seen thus far.
Okay, you guys were absolutely right. That episode was fantastic. That was part 1. I'm about to watch part 2. I just love how the episode ended with them cutting their broadcast, and then for us, it went to the credits. Very clever, well done. I'm keen to see how the Doctor survives.
The second part of the episode absolutely flew by, and unlike the Romans, I think this one had a stronger message.
Was there some kind of commentary there on how, we're addicted to our TVs, addicted to media? I love that kind of storytelling. Who wrote this? Philip Martin? I'm pretty sure that whole story was just talking about, how we're TV obsessed, ratings obsessed, that they'll do anything. I enjoyed it. Great stuff. Okay, and now we are going to end it off with Doctor Number 7, Sylvester McCoy, and the episode The Curse of Fenric? Who the heck's Fenric? All I know about the Curse of Fenric is when I interviewed the one, the only Sophie Aldred. She said that this was one of her favourites to film because there was a lot of location shooting. I think that's what she said.
But I think probably one of the ones like The Curse of Fenric, which was an entirely location story for 4 episodes. So we were away the entire time on location. And of course, it's hard work, but it's fun work.
When the Doctor and Ace arrive at a secret military base during World War II, they discover that a centuries-old Viking curse is bringing terror to its inhabitants. As hideous vampires rise from the sea, they are confronted not only with a mystery from the distant past, but also a terrifying vision of mankind's future. This story creeped me out. It really did. It really, really did. Unfortunately, this episode didn't grip me as much as Remembrance of the Daleks, maybe because I was so familiar with the Daleks, but what carries this episode is Ace and the Doctor. Mainly Sophie Aldred, she gives a stellar performance.
Why does Ace have more chemistry with her friends than Ryan ever did with his?
I thought they were friends, but I'll be honest, these guys really creeped me out. I don't know why I was so creeped out.
Very, very Jaws right now.
I feel like I have developed a phobia of the deep sea from this episode. It's called thalassophobia. I might have developed it from this episode. This Curse of Fenric gives you thalassophobia. That's the takeaway.
Oh, wow. That's scary as. That's proper scary. Oh my gosh, he's gonna look for Jack Sparrow.
And of course, the episode had to end with not one,
Yeah!
but 2 explosions.
Boom! I love the fact that the Doctor had to, like, make Ace lose her faith in him. It reminds me so much of the God Complex, and I wonder if that's where Toby Whithouse got his inspiration. Great performances from both of them, actually. A lot of people said that Ace, like, really shines this episode, and she does, but Sylvester is just as good. Wow.
We did it, folks. Once again, we watched classic Doctor Who. So A, do I still like Doctor Who? Yes, if anything, I like it more. B, what is my favourite episode of classic Doctor Who? It was the Patrick Troughton one, Tomb of the Cybermen, but now, hands down, City of Death. That blew my expectations out of the water. C, will I keep watching classic Doctor Who after this? Well, that's where you come in, I guess. I'm a big believer in trilogies, and this is the second video in me watching classic Doctor Who series. Videos where I watch one story from each classic Doctor. So I ask of you once again, please leave your suggestions in the comments what classic Doctor Who episodes you want me to watch. Give me one from Doctors 1 to 7, and we'll see what happens. But don't include the episodes that we watched today or in the previous video. Go and support the Patreon. I love you very much, but not as much as I love City of Death. And if anyone is curious, this is how I ranked all the episodes today. Wow, that's good. That's it. I'm gonna go. See you later.